the internet for just about everything, but you can't always trust what you read online. And when it comes to your health and finding a doctor.
You can't trust what you read online, period.
No, I know.
You know what I mean? You really can't. But we've got some help for you when it comes to medicine. We've got Dr. Keri Peterson, and she is going to help you separate fact from fiction online. Good to have you with us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
We all love to do research when it comes to anything, from buying a new car to finding a new doctor.
As you should.
But there are good websites, bad websites, good information and bad information. Get us started. What's the first stop I should make?
The first thing is you have to consider the source. You need to know whether the website you're looking at is an open loop or a closed loop. What do I mean by that?
Yeah.
Open loop is where anyone can leave a review. So is the positive review left by your doctor's friend who wants to boost their ratings? Is a negative review left by a disgruntled employee who wants to seek revenge? So an open loop is not as reliable. You want to look for a closed loop. That is where the person leaving the review is verified. And there's only one closed loop service on the market, and that is ZocDoc. What it is, it's an online service where you find a nearby doctor, you book an appointment, and you can only leave a review after you've seen the doctor. So only those people can leave the review. That makes it a closed loop. So it's fundamentally more trustworthy.
ZocDoc, Z-O-C-D-O-C,
yes.
Because I've gone to these websites like Health Grades and Vital, whatever, and you do see a lot of interesting comments. You get like really good ones, you get really bad ones. You're like, who are these people?
You have to take it with a grain of salt. It's not as reliable because you don't know whether the person leaving it has actually had the experience of going to the doctor's office.
Yeah.
It is the blessing and the curse of all things on the internet, which is that the anonymity, people feel free to speak their mind.
Oh, that's for sure.
But the double-edged sword of the anonymity is that it could be a disgruntled employee, or it could just be somebody that didn't want to pay their bill, leaving a very, very negative review. How do you go a little bit deeper? When you read reviews, what should I be looking for when I read a review of a doctor?
Well, it is a game of numbers. So the first thing is, if you see that there's a negative rating, you want to see this doctor, you see it's a negative rating, look at how many people have left reviews. If it's only 4 people, 3 left good and 1 left a bad, that's going to pull the whole score down.
Right.
So you have to take that into consideration. And you also have to think, who is more likely to leave a review? If you go to a doctor, you have a great experience, you're going to go on about your business. You're not going to go write it down.
Right.
But if you have a negative experience, you are much more apt to want to document that on the internet. For emotional reasons, for just wanting to get it out there. So there is a selection bias for who is leaving reviews.
That's exactly what I was just going to ask you.
Into consideration.
Bias, yeah.
Another thing to take into consideration is what matters to you when seeing a doctor. Is their bedside manner more important, or is their wait in the doctor's office more important? So you have to decide what is important to me. So read the reviews. Someone might give someone a horrible rating because their secretary was rude. You may not care how the secretary is treating you. You want a good doctor. So look at how the doctor's being rated. So for example, with ZocDoc, they allow you to categorize. It's rated by category. So if you know, I want bedside manner to be the most important, you go to that category for the physician and you can see how they did it in that specific area.
I've seen online, you go and you look at a review of a restaurant and somebody gives it 1 star because they were out of the wine that they wanted, and you think, well, that's got nothing to do with the restaurant experience.
No, and that's why you have to take all reviews with a grain of salt and read it. Another thing I recommend is look at the doctor's credentials. Where did they get their education? Where did they do their residency? Do they have any awards or recognitions? Because this gives you a rounder picture of the physician and it helps guide you in a direction.
How do you know what schools are good, though? Like, I've looked up doctors and I've heard, I'm like, what is that university? But it might be good. I don't know.
One, I know. I mean, probably you'd recognize some of the top stellar schools, like the Ivy Leagues, those. But for the more run-of-the-mill average schools, it's going to be a little harder. You may have to dig a little deeper and do your homework there.
But awards, they might have awards.
Right. And all publications. It just gives you a more depth and breadth on the physician.
Right.
Are there public records for things like malpractice lawsuits? And if there are, should we care about those? Because just because you're sued for malpractice doesn't mean you're guilty of it. So it's hard to know.
That is very challenging. Yes, it is public documentation, but the question is, why are they being sued? Are they just in the case because they happen to be in the room during the surgery? I mean, you have to be really delicate about reading those and really read it. If you're going to be looking into that, You have to dig a little deeper to find out what was going on in that scenario.
Sure.
It's the same thing as someone being angry over waiting. It's like they could be angry with the doctor or suing them for something.
Well, and you can get named in a lawsuit
Yes,
even if you weren't
right,
specifically
right.
involved in a lawsuit because
Exactly,
insurance
right,
companies just name everybody that was ever there.
Exactly,
So
that's
it's
it.
tough.
Well,
And I do recommend give back too. People really rely on reviews, so if you did have a good experience, or you write details down, just a few, just take 5 minutes. Write details down so you can pay it forward and help the next patient.
you know I'm going to be on ZocDoc today, right?
I know you are.
You know that. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, JD.
Thank you.
Rebecca.